Good evening and welcome back to Rhythm and Revelation. Tonight we begin the story of a man well acquainted with grief, a lifetime forged in hardship. Through every loss, God was already near, though this man did not yet see him clearly. Let us step back to a childhood marked by sorrow and a heart shaped by compassion.
In the hush between heartbeats, he knelt again, not in church, no pews, no incense, but on the scuffed lino of a kitchen that smelled of chip fat and yesterday's rain. Steam curled from a chipped mug, tea long gone cold. Outside, dusk bruised the sky violet. He watched it like someone counting bruises on skin he couldn't touch. 42 years old, and still the same reflex. Fold himself small, wait for thunder that never quite came. His mother had done that. Folded small. 8 years old. He'd found her in this exact spot. Except then, the lino was clean, sunlight pooling like mercy. She'd pressed her palms to the tiles as if praying into the floorboards, whispering numbers. 1, 2, 3. Like rosary beads made of heartbeats. When the shouting started upstairs, his father, always the storm, she'd mouthed, "We're safe, we're safe." But the numbers had trembled. He'd learned them off by heart, the way other kids learned times tables. Now, the house was his. Father gone, mother gone. Only ghosts left to pay rent. He'd meant to sell it years ago. Instead, he'd inherited their silence, worn it like an overcoat 2 sizes too big. He hadn't moved. Not yet. But the numbers, his mother's numbers, started in his chest. 1, 2, 3. Except now they felt different. Less like protection, more like excavation. Each digit a shovel turn of soil. 4, 5. The floorboards answered back with a creak. He looked up. The bulb flickered one. Deliberate. As if whoever, or whatever, had no rush. 8, 9, 10. The footsteps stopped, just beyond the doorframe. In the hall, with a wallpaper peeled like sunburned skin. A shadow stretched across the lino. Long, thin, wrong. He swallowed, counted again to calm himself. 11, 12. But the numbers felt borrowed now. Someone else was counting with him. A voice soft as mothwing came from the dark. "You've been waiting." He didn't flinch, couldn't. His lungs forgot their job. 13, 14. The shadow stepped forward. Not shadow, a woman. Grey hair pinned back with a single comb, the kind his mother wore, but younger. Skin still holding light, eyes clear. She wore a dress he'd never seen, pale green, faded at the hem, frayed like memory. "I lost you twice," she said. He shook his head. This wasn't grief. Grief didn't walk. "You were supposed to come home," she went on, "after the accident. You never did. The accident, his, at 15. Bicycle, ice, the river that swallowed sound. He'd woken in hospital, mother beside him, hands raw from prayer. 3 days she'd stayed, then gone. Cancer, quick, they'd said, like mercy. "I came home," he whispered, "empty." She smiled, sad and small. Not empty, full of questions you never asked. 15, 16. The bulb flickered again. When it steadied, she was closer. Close enough he saw the seam along her cheek, like someone had stitched shadow to flesh. "Do you remember the orchard?" His throat clicked. "The orchard behind the house. Apple trees twisted as questions you never asked." They'd gone there after funeral. 60, his aunts, the bulb then cousins. Then when it steadied, she was close. "You buried beetles there." Close enough he saw the seam along her cheek, like someone had stitched shadow to flesh. "Do you remember the orchard?"
A moral compass awakens transition. Hardship can break a soul, or it can build one. In our story, it built a quiet strength, a conviction that right and wrong are not opinions but truths to be held by the Almighty.
She didn't smile, didn't need to. The green dress shimmered like pond water after rain. "You were 8. The first time I came, he blinked. Tea sloshed onto his knuckles, scolding. The kitchen shrank, years folded. Ate again, his childhood bedroom, same woman, standing by the window, watching him sleep. Not watching, keeping vigil. He'd woken once to find her gone, only moonlight left. But now she stood in daylight, or whatever passed for it. Her voice carried no echo. You've carried them long enough. The bruises, the shouting, the silence after. 15, 16. The numbers kept going, but hers overlapped, gentle as tide. She raised a hand, not to strike, not that hand, not hers. The palm opened. In it, a compass, brass, small, tarnished, but spinning, wild. 17, 18. It slowed, pointed north, not the magnetic north, the real one, the one his father had mocked. Directions are for cowards, real men find their own way. He'd believed that once, built a life on detours, 21 years in the merchant navy, drunk on salt and rum, 23 fights, 36 lies told to men with knives, every port the same confession. I don't know where I am, but the compass knew. 19, 20, 21. She stepped closer, not walking, floating. The hem of her dress didn't touch the floor. Took his hand, warm, real, placed the compass in it. Feel that? The needle doesn't waver, because it's not metal, it's bone. He looked down, saw it now. The needle wasn't brass, human, white, a tiny femur. His mother's? No, smaller, a child's. 22, 23. The dial cracked open like an egg. Inside, a mirror. His face, reflected, 8 years old. Eyes huge, mouth forming the word, safe, safe. The woman leaned in. The hardship didn't break you, Matthew. It bent you, like steel for a blade. You were never lost, only waiting for the fire. 24, 25. Outside, thunder. Not his father's, something older. The bulb popped, darkness, but her hand still glowed.
Into the fire. Narrator in transition. Great callings often come wrapped in great trials, and sometimes the darkest moments reveal the brightest grace. For the scriptures teach, the Lord is near the brokenhearted and saves those crushed in the spirit. The Lord is near the brokenhearted and saves those crushed in the spirit. The Lord is near the brokenhearted and saves those crushed in the spirit.
In the blackness, he heard her laugh. Not bitter, musical. The way she'd laughed when he'd tripped over the washing line at 5, face down, in sheets that smelled of summer. Come. She took his hand, cold at first, then warm, as if life had returned to her fingers by stages. 1, 2, 3. They walked. Not in the house, he'd know every creak, but somewhere softer. Earth beneath bare feet, cool, damp. Grass, the orchard. Moonlight dripped between branches, silvering the apples like tiny hearts suspended in midair. He hadn't come here in 30 years, yet she led him straight to the old swing. The rope frayed, seat rotted through. Look, she said. So he did. Where once beetles had been buried, foxglove grew, tall, purple bells nodding in a wind he didn't feel. You thought death was the end, she said, but look, all that kindness turned to something that heals, a compass. He knelt, pressed fingers to soil, still warm. 19 years since he'd last stood here, yet the earth remembered. 20. He opened his mouth, nothing. The girl. The sound of feet. Bare feet, small. They weren't here, not yet, but soon. He felt Not moonlight, but something subtler, memory light. And in it, he saw them, 8-year-old him, on hands and knees, pressing matchboxes into the dirt, each a coffin, each a promise. Beside him, Sarah, the girl from 2 doors down. She'd brought worms. He said they were souls. She said they were spaghetti. They'd both cried when one wriggled free, leaving its shell like betrayal. 23, 24. The scene shifted. Same place, 15. Him again, but taller, shoulders hunched, shovel in hand, not for beetles, for his finish. She'd taken the shovel, thrown it aside, started digging with her hands, blood under fingernails. When they'd lowered the box, she'd whispered, "Not too deep, he needs air." Then she'd kissed the lid, like a bedtime story. 25, 26, now he understood. Every loss she'd faced, she'd stayed. Not folded small, opened wider. Even now, he looked at her, realized her dress wasn't faded. It was translucent, edges dissolving like breath on glass. "You're not really here," he said. "No, but neither are you, not yet." The wind rose, foxglove shivered. He stepped closer to the grave. The swing creaked, though no one touched it. "Count with me," she said. 1, he did. 2, 3. With every number, the orchard lit brighter. 4, 5, and the children returned. Not memory, real. 5 of them now, barefoot, hair damp from rain. They ran. 7, 8, 9. They slowed, looked up, at him. Not frightened, curious, like they'd always known he'd come. One held out a beetle, bright green, wings iridescent. "Take it," she said. "It'll guide you." He did. It crawled across his palm. A compass. Small, brass, spinning wildly at first, then settling. North, no, not north. Towards the house, towards light. 10, 11. The orchard faded, but the children stayed, hand in hand, walking with him, back through the wall, into the kitchen. On the windowsill, it pointed left, towards the stairs. He climbed them slowly, children behind him like a soft tide. Each step, the house changed, walls warmer, floor less cold. He opened her door, not empty, not a shrine, a nursery, cot, blankets. On the pillow, a note in her handwriting. "We've all been waiting. 12. The bulb steadied. He lifted the child, a boy, dark hair, his mother's mouth, eyes open, calm, not newborn. 3 months, maybe 4. He knew without asking. The boy blinked, gave a small smile, then looked at the beetle compass, reached, took it, pointed down, into the cot, where a tiny matchbox lay, half buried in blankets. Inside, a pressed flower, foxglove, purple as bruise, as mercy. The boy closed the lid, put it to his lips, kissed it, then held it out to him. "Give it back," he said. The orchard. Pinpricks in black silk. The wings of light. He knelt, opened the matchbox. The flower unfurled. Not foxglove, his mother's wedding bouquet, dried but living. She was there too, in the center, not a ghost, solid, fingers brushing his cheek. "Thank you for coming back." He pressed the flower to soil, pushed it deep, covered it, and the orchard burst open. Not in bloom, in song. Blackbirds, robins, even a nightingale that shouldn't be here. Their notes braided round him, like ribbons. He cried. Not small, not quiet. Everything he'd held since 8 spilled out. The children watched, then stepped forward, one by one, took his hand, told their names. Sarah, Thomas, Lily, Jonah, Ivy, all the ones he'd buried. Beetles, matches, dirt, all the ones he'd tried to save. They weren't dead. They'd grown, into kindness, into this, into him. 42 years folded small, unfolded. He stood, tall, smiled, then took the boy's hand and the children's, walked away, not leaving, making room. He watched until there were dots of light among fireflies, then turned, walked back inside. The kitchen still smelled of tea, but now of sugar too. He filled the kettle, sat, and counted, not to measure fear, but to measure wonder. 1, 2, 3. The Lord is near. 4, 5. The broken-hearted. 6, 7. Saves the crushed. 8, 9, 10. He smiled, put on fresh water, and waited for the next small soul to bring home.
In the fire of trial, the Lord refined our hero. Prayer became his refuge. Grace reshaped his resolve, and compassion, even for enemies, became his legacy.
Years later, neighbors spoke of the man on Willow Row, how he'd taken in strays, not animals, though he did those too, but people. The boy was first. They called him Jonah, after the whale. Then came Ivy, with cigarette burns on her arms and trust like broken glass. Then Lily, mute since the accident. Thomas, who'd run until his feet bled. Each time, he'd knelt in that kitchen, kettle humming, and said the same thing. Count with me. And they did. 1, 2, 3. Till the numbers lost their edges, became lullabies. And the orchard changed, swing rebuilt, foxglove transplanted to window boxes, beetles encouraged, children let them live. The house was never full, never empty, just breathing. When he'd buried his father, at last, after the drink took the last of him, he'd done it right, deep, with prayers he'd learned on his knees, not from books, and stood, no shovel in hand, just hands open, forgiveness like soil between fingers. The Lord refined him, yes, but softly, like rain, like sugar, like a matchbox held to flame, not to burn, to light. And when he died, old, quiet, kettle still warm, the children who'd grown into aunts and uncles and teachers came back, one by one, walked out the back, knelt by the orchard, each pressed something into the earth, a flower, a stone, a matchbox, then stood, looked at the swing, at the foxglove, and knew. Compassion wasn't something he'd learned. It was always there, beneath the bruises, under the lino, in the dirt he'd once mistaken for graves. They walked home, left the door unlocked, because someone else was counting and waiting for the next small soul to bring home.
So who was this humble giant? A man scarred by sorrow, yet strengthened by grace. A leader who knelt before God in nation's darkest hour. You know his name, Abraham Lincoln. And his life reminds us God can use the broken to heal the broken.
Ah, so that's it. All those graves weren't beetles or Jonah. They were him and her and every child he'd failed to save, but especially one, a boy named Willie, died at 11. Lincoln held the body in the White House, said the same thing he'd said in that orchard. Count with me. 1, 2, 3. And the boy opened his eyes, not in flesh, in story, in grace, because that's how God works, not with armies, with matchboxes, with broken men, who learn to bury enemies too, not in dirt, but in prayer, and rise, strong